those magnificent men in their flying machines. They go up to the up, up, they go down to the up, down.
Okay, we're going to put the side panels on the fuse now. So basically start it. I'll keep it here. This piece here, I'm going to see it on the camera. This is, it's not quite on the sheet, there you go. This is off the template, off the plan. So it's the same story with this. You put a piece of carbon paper over the plan and then draw it out on a piece of cardboard or wallpaper, rough wall lining paper, that's what I use. And then draw it back out, and this is like 1mm thin ply. And that's what you use. And make sure you cut it, the grain is running along the way so it bends easy. Okay? Right, so we've got that. Now, just to make sure it's all stable inside, I always do this. It doesn't say it on the plan, but this is what I do. Put one at the top there, one there. And how to get them is you get, for example, I've used that fitting, it's just scrap balsa at a 90-degree angle. Put it in, get your pen, and you mark it there. And you mark it to the end of the inner firewall. You draw your line down there and cut it with a blade, and out will come with it. Out comes that. And this one goes under there like that, in line with the top of the fuse there. Okay? And you glue that in, super glue it in. Okay? And then when you get to this, you have to fettle with this. So I'll try and keep this in the camera as best I can. That's about it there. Okay. That seems to be favourite. Just come out a bit. And then once you've got this to the right angle, you play with this. Because of the undercarriage goes inside there, so that's a bit of a pain, but you get around it. You mark there, get it on there yet. You mark it from there to there, draw your line, and then just cut that with a pair of scissors so it's in line with the firewall, and in line with that bracket there, that angle there, because this one's at an angle, hence the line. You can see it, okay? And then with it's all on, if we turn it round, hopefully we can get this. And it'll come out like that, see? And you trim that there, obviously, to where the wing sits. And you're going to have to trim the top as well. Okay? Hence why I see it's got to move, so that's about right. See how that fits just there. Perfect. And then on the top, save a lot of fuss in the video. You can keep it in the picture. Oh. You have to put another piece of my fingers in. Right, cut this down. I mean, you could leave that there if you want, personally, that's up to you. But you've got to build it up, and then when you put your top one on, because your top one's important, okay? We'll come to that, if that makes sense. So you've got to make another one of these, so, you know, build it up with this. So you've got basically so it's got something for the ply to stick to. You know, just give that bit of extra strength. Okay. Now, because we've got, I always make these so that you need access in case something goes wrong with the throttle, or you need to get their petrol tank, or even the undercarriage. So basically, as you can see, you make a false hood. Right, and basically, I'll come out easily. You just copy the form around here, and the form around there. And then obviously, you know, the ply is not going to bend there. I mean, I got it on there, but this is a bit more delicate. So I'm going to decide I'd use thin balsa. Hence why I've got all the blocks in. So you just cut it roughly to the shape, because it's got to go over both. So when it folds, it's going to be left over. Because once you put it on there, on that bit there, it'll be held on with the cowling. Okay, that's the plan anyway. And same with that side. You're going to make another false one there, so you can put the rest of it on the rest of the fuse. Yeah, we'll come to that. So the next stage is to just white glue the edges here, or epoxy them, and then super glue the tops. I usually hold that. Okay, and that's there, and that'll be it nicely in, ready to go. And that way it'll come out when you need it. See? And obviously glue it off the bruise. Okay. Hiya. Right, this is a video to just demonstrate what I was on about, the next stage of starting with the plane, you know, getting all the bits ready, all the formers and stuff, and various bits and bobs. So if we pan over to the board. So I'm going to demonstrate by doing the main firewall, the former one as they call it. So you just pick a piece of your ply. And this was because of what I've got left in the workshop. This is 5-6mm ply thick. Alright, but personally, if you've got 10mm, use 10mm. Because you need the weight up front in a way. The more weight up front, the better it is. That's my theory anyway. I mean, there's others that disagree, I suppose, but anyway, this is it. So you get your piece of board, there's your picture, the tape's on it, like I explained in the previous video, to protect the plan. So it's just a little bit oversized, the board, so it gives you a bit of room. And basically, and I might add, I always make 2 of them anyway, in case I make a mistake installing the engine and stuff. You just feel your way along. There you have it. That's the important thing to remember is the line in the middle that gives you your centre of the actual foot plate. And the best way to draw it. Just pencil over the tape. Try and make sure the plan don't move, because that would be a bit of a pain. Nice pointy edge pencil. Okay. That's right. It's just basically. You just draw out what you want to draw out. There's no point doing this bit and this bit, because that'll come at another day. And then you just carefully go around the edges. Take your time. I mean, I'm doing this basically one I'm used to doing it, which you'll get used to doing it once you do a few builds. Just things like this come naturally. The blue carbon paper may have made a difference. I'm sorry if my arm gets in the way of the video, but you can get the gist of what I'm doing. I've done this before. Yes, you've got that. And then hopefully it'll come out. There you go, so it's come out now, okay, roughly. And then what you do is if you follow it around, I use a jigsaw. If you've got a fret saw and do it by hand, by all means, you'll break. So you just cut near to the line as possible. I've done that. So obviously you try your best to cut outside the line, don't go inside because you can't repair that. So, and obviously it's rickety, so then you just go, just stand down and right to the camera, just basically clean it up so there you have it, right? So you've got your centrepiece there, so you know that's going to be where you got to decide which way you want to put your engine up, inverted, sideways or top. Okay, but then, and then if you've got to, A, one, if you make a mistake, you've got one to play with, and B, it's the weight, like I said. So that's that. And then as you can see, I've done all the other formers. So obviously that one goes there, and you just make sure it's true to there. Then you look at everything on your plan, as you have, and you'll see that they're the same there. They've all, everything, repeat the process all along. Obviously these are balsa, so you can use a blade. And you notice them there. And that's them all up there. Okay. So you've got all your formers. Once you've got all your formers together, best to make it. It's like you're basically building yourself the kit as if it was coming in a box like the old days, you know. Alright, so if we move quickly on to the next bit, which is the same thing, but it's the wing ribs. So I always make one particular wing rib. Exactly the same process. Use the carbon paper, put it underneath the plan, draw it out, and then what I've done is I usually just get, as you can see, it looks like what you get out of the old-fashioned kits where they were before you had the days of the CM computer print out, laser cutting. So, you know, you've drawn them all out using the same template, that way you know that all the ribs are going to be roughly the same size. Now what I might add is these are blanks. What I mean by blanks is that because I'm going to build the wings slightly different to the plan, I've made these so, because I'm going to, which I'll do in another video, I'll show you how I accommodate the leading edge, the trailing edges and so forth. Because as you can see, it's a very thin wing, just enough room for a flat wing servo to sit in between, literally. Okay, so that's why I call them blanks. And then how to do this, let's quickly demonstrate. There's some people have asked this. Alright, so what I tend to do with these is, because you've got them, if I had a big long sheet, I'd cut them in half there on the jig. And then what I do is to get a sharp blade, and you just, first time round, just track it with the blade. Don't go into it too heavy, just give it a nice cut like that. And then eventually, it will follow itself. That makes sense. See? And the same this one. So we gently do it, that way you won't go off the line. See? It's just like so. Okay. Right, same with the bottom one. So just use the tip of the blade. And again, I would advise, because you got, I think there's about 48 of these on this particular model. So whatever you like to drink, whether it be tea, coffee or lemonade, as they say, or anything really, beer, then I would suggest you have one with you. And just, because it can get a bit monotonous, so just have a break. But see, and it comes out like that. And the edges there, you can either trim it with a blade like I do, just roughly, because you're going to have to sand them all anyway. And there's that way of doing it. And you just follow suit for the rest. The other way of doing it, of course, is you could just cut them out rough and screw 2 screws through if it was a big enough width for the rib. And then sand them all, bolt them together and sand them all in one go, which is a quicker way back on that sanding block. But I prefer to cut them by hand because it's more fun for me. I'm a bit mad like that. Okay, I'm going to just put a quick video on of what I call truss plates, but I'm sure there's a proper name for them, but I just don't care. So here we are. If we pan over to the fuse, you can see I've done them. This is not on the plan as usual. This is just, I do these with all my planes just to make sure it gives you a chance when you crash land it. Jelly. But anyway, seriously, they're there to strengthen the longer ones and the uprights and stuff. So all I do with that is you just get a really thin piece of ply. This is an offcut out of an old. This is actually packaging that came, and I thought, oh, that's handy, so I keep it. You basically, what you do is first of all you just draw out a house, like just a house, shape of a house. And once you've got one, you just draw around it like so. I mean, it's not rocket science, this. And obviously you've measured out the width for your bottom longer one there. See, so it just sits like so. Okay, so you've done that. It's the one in the middle. It's good, isn't it? And then you get an old pair of scissors, not a good pair, but an old pair. And you just cut it off. And you just chop it off like so. This video will be about 2 minutes long, and it'll take about 8 hours to load up. Right, here we go. So the trick here is once you've got these in, just cut them to your marks, and then you get a pair of pins of pliers things, and you just go like that, see? And then they're on, see, like so. Alright, so, and then what you do is that you just, obviously you butt it up against it, and then what I do is I get a pen, What I do is I mark down the sides like so. So you've got a track, so I'll just pretend that I've done it, right? And that way you can see where you're putting your glue. And I use cyano glue and that, put them on and then clamp them with mini clamps, which are like these. Okay, you get a set of mini clamps and you clamp either side and I hold it. And you know, about 4, because if I type down it takes a few seconds to secure. And that is how you do that. Okay, so any comments or questions, put them below. Okay, so that's that for this video anyway. There's no point doing the other bit because, pardon me, I'll link them all when I get there. Okay, so I do it on the, this is to put the rods in for the elevators and rudder. So I put one in obviously, so you cut your piece of darling rod, I do it the old fashioned way. So I'll show you the end bit. So you've cut it to length, and you get your wire, hopefully this is all in the camera. And then you get your 45 degree, 90 degree bend on there. I hope you can see this. So get it to 90 degrees, okay? And you're lining it up with the rudder, so you've got to allow for a bit of a bend. Which is probably about there. Okay, and you mark it. And then keep it in the camera. Get it in the right line. There's your mark there. Okay. Let's get the drill. And pilot hold it. So that's in line with the other side. You got the top one. I always do it this way. It's probably people do it differently from me, but this is how I do it. Okay. There you go. Put the baling wire. Then I use baling wire, fence wire. Okay, there you put your 45 degrees. Put it in. Put it in the hole. Fire in the hole, mate. Like so, that's in. And give it a bit of a tweak with the pliers. That's it in. Okay, and then put your baling wire in. And you just wrap it. So you just continuously wrap it around. And we can go. This is short, but this is how I usually have a long enough bit, but this has come to the end of the roll of the baling wire, so I'll obviously continue it. Okay, and you chop off the end. I mean, on my other videos I've made, you'll find that I've done this in case this isn't proper on this. So obviously I've got to carry it on there and finish it off to that hole there. I usually do it in one. So then you've got it in line, and then you feed it through the fuse underneath. And once you've got it through, then you bend it roughly to where you're going to have it on the rudder. This one's for the rudder. I've done the elevator. So hopefully, if that should all be on the camera, yeah. So I hope that makes sense. So you just feed that through. Let's feed it through roughly. Yeah, a bit of tweaking here and there. Yeah, see? And just bend it through. And there you have it. So I'll just take this off of here. I get a bit seasick. So you can see now that you got the two in there, and there you have it at the end. So that's for your rudder, and that's for your elevator. Okay, and they're in, and then you just connect it up to your servos, and then on that side, and on that side. Simple enough. And I always put a bit of super glue on there. Once I've got it on, I'll super glue it and spray it so that it just holds it, you know, stop the wire if it ever comes away. And that's adequate enough. It's worked for years on my other planes, so there you go. Okay. Whilst I'm waiting for other things to dry, I thought I'd do the bit for to hold the cowl on. And I always do a lot of solid bit like that. A, because it adds a bit more weight to the front, which is going to be needed, and B, it gives you that room to, if you make a mistake, you can always just drill it through again, you know. So not little blocks, it's a bit stronger. And it's just, that's hardwood, very hardwood. So just a bit of old scrap hardwood I had. And then you just cut it and shape it, and sand it, you know, to the inside. Better trying to keep it inside the firewall as possible, because obviously it doesn't matter about the gap because the screws are hold. And that's basically that for that. So, and that's PVA'd on. So that'd be nice. Okay. Here we are, right? Lovely saucepan, brand spanking new. I always took the lid, hang on. I got this from good old Wilkinson's, okay? Because finding a cowling for this particular plane is not going to happen, right? So I resolved to go into the local Wilkinson's because they sell pots and pans. And me and my friend Tony went round and we speculated to see what would fit. There's the template, hence why I said always make a spare template, because it does come in handy for numerous reasons. And I took that with me and it fits in. You find the saucepan, if it's a little bit further out, it doesn't matter, but this one, you see, it will go in, because, see, it fits. Alright, and that's exactly what you need. Alright, so once you've got that in, you're happy days. Plus it's got extra weight, so on the front, because of the tail, right, you've got that bit of extra weight on there. Okay, so just to elaborate what we're going to do, here you have, there's your cowling there on the front, and it's almost to the right width. See, you know, what a bonus. And this cost £9 because it had a lid with it, which I gave back to the guy in the shop, which everyone was kind of looking at me funny, but what do I need a glass lid for? So next stage with this is because this particular plane, the cowling, oh actually, don't get air sick, but the cowling, if we give you one up here, if we can pan the camera to this cowling here has obviously got that much on the front, but on the snipe, it's further in, so you basically got a lot more frontage on the cowl than you would have on these type of planes. So it's going to be a lot less small, you know, diameter cut out of here. So keep getting your really airsick now. So what you do, I mean, again, best thing to do is look at the picture of the real aircraft. So I don't have a hand at the moment, and you just find any circle like a tin. You know, that's a perfect circle. Hopefully that'll be the right side. But this is just an example. Then you get your marker. You cut around it with a marker. That's your first job. Cut that circle out with just a normal jigsaw with a metal blade. That'll cut around it eventually. Take your time, cut around the mark, and that way you've got your hole ready. And then obviously once it's all fitted on, this won't matter. You don't need to worry about that, because on the plane here it's cut out, so you're going to have a nice shape at the bottom, like a half moon shape. It comes out at the bottom, so you've got that. So this won't really matter. You could knock it off if you want, but it's just an extra bit of work you don't need. Okay, but you might have to take it off to get the blade round, so that'll have to come off anyway. But then you mark that once you've got it on the fuse, and that then, and obviously where you've got your exhaust coming out, all these things you mark and drill from different pipes and stuff, and that is your cowl ready. And then to get rid of this, got the Teflon-y look, you can either you need to rub it, just wire wool it with methylated spirits, and that'll all come off and it'll be as shiny as that. Okay, just a bit of time, a bit of elbow grease, and there you have your nice shiny cowl, ready to go. Nice bit of weight, everything's there. And that because if you could buy one of these offline or whatever, I believe, because this is a lot smaller than the normal size that I use, 25 quid, and this costs 9 quid, so it's worth a bargain. And if you do make a mistake, at least you can go back to Wilkinson's or Wilco's, whatever they call it now, and get a bloody another one. Okay, half the price. So there you go, budget's bargain. Right, okay, so when I come to do this, I'll do another video. And there'll be loads of bleeps in it, because I will swear loads when I'm trying to cut this hole out. Okay. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Jelly. Right, okay.
Those magnificent men, those magnificent